Hi friends, welcome back to Dash Explore. I'm Sarah and we just got back from an incredible 4-day stay in Galway, Ireland. Now, if you're a busy parent like me, you don't have time to sit down and watch a 20-minute travel vlog. You want the details, you want the kid-friendly spots, and you want them fast. So that's why we're doing a redash. Today we are breaking down our entire Galway itinerary in just 4 minutes. 1 minute for every day we were there. We are covering everything from the Celtic mythology of Galway to our Connemara adventures. So grab your notebook and your pen and let's dive into day 1 of our Galway redash. Day 1 in Galway actually starts with us landing in Dublin and taking the train across the country to Galway. The train ride was about 2.5 hours and the scenery was beautiful. We navigated our way to our Airbnb to drop off our luggage. It was around 2 p.m. at the time and we were all exhausted from an overnight flight the night before, so we decided to hit the pubs early for dinner so that we could crash. We enjoyed some traditional Irish cuisine such as beef and Guinness stew and fish and chips, and of course Mom and Dad couldn't miss out on having a fresh Guinness in a pub. We thoroughly enjoyed our first Irish pub experience, and then we were all ready to settle into our Airbnb and get some sleep. Day 2, we were actually venturing outside of Galway to the Cliffs of Moher, but that tour wasn't until noon, so we started off the morning with some breakfast. We found the cutest local cafe for some coffee, pastries, and the biggest breakfast sandwiches we've ever seen. We had some time to kill before meeting our bus, so we naturally found a playground for the girls to get some of their energy out. Then we decided to walk through town to our meeting spot for the Cliffs of Moher so that we could see some more of Galway's charm. The Cliffs of Moher are about 2 hours south of Galway, so we met up with our group and then hit the road to start our journey. We are so glad we booked a bus tour instead of trying to rent a car because there are some very narrow and windy roads in Ireland. We arrived at the Cliffs of Moher to beautiful weather and we all enjoyed the fresh air outside, especially with our jet lag. We walked around, saw some sheep, and even found an ice cream truck for us to enjoy. We had about 2 hours to explore before it was time to board the bus. It was the perfect amount of time. The best part about this bus tour was that we got to stop at a small pub in Dublin for a late lunch on our way home. It was so cool to get to see another town, and we all enjoyed some more delicious pub fare. We also had a surprise stop at the Baby Cliffs, and the views were beautiful, especially at golden hour, even if the terrain there was a little rocky. We got home around 7 p.m. and we were all still so jet lagged that we boarded one of the city buses to get us closer to our Airbnb. Although we'd had a late lunch around 4 p.m., we were still a little hungry, so we had a quick charcuterie dinner in our apartment before resting up for another day of adventures tomorrow. Day 3 was another day of adventures, this time in the Connemara region. We had another morning breakfast of coffee and pastries, then we got our taxi and headed to Brigit's garden. This is a large outdoor Celtic-themed garden with lots of interactive stations for kids. The staff here was so kind and the girls loved getting some more fresh air and exploring the fairy gardens. Although I will say I think we would have enjoyed the gardens even more if we had visited just a few weeks later when everything was in full bloom. Once we had explored the gardens and had some time on the playground, we had lunch in their cafe and again enjoyed the beautiful weather we were having. Then after some slight trouble finding a taxi, we were able to get to our next adventure of the day, Glengowla Mines. This is a family-owned farm that includes activities like a mine tour and a sheepdog herding demonstration. We opted for the sheepdog herding, and boy are we glad that we did. This dog was incredibly smart, and it was so cool to learn more about sheep farming in Ireland and how it has changed over the years. But the biggest bonus of this trip was getting to hold a 4-day-old baby lamb and also meet one that had just been born that morning. The girls were in total heaven, and again, the people here were so incredibly kind, and we are so thankful for their hospitality. It was around 4:30 at this point, so we got a taxi back into Galway, which took a little less than an hour. And after a busy day outside adventuring, we went back to our same pub for the first day to enjoy our dinner before bed. Day 4 and our last full day in Galway was a slow and relaxing day, but also one where we really got to explore the city. We started our day with breakfast and then set out to do some souvenir shopping. We bought sweaters and of course some keychains and stuffies for the girls. Then we took our souvenirs back to our apartment and headed out for our big activity of the day, a Celtic Mythology tour. We had a little bit of time before we were supposed to meet our guide, so we stopped at Millennium Park to let the girls play. Then we met up with our group and got to walk through the city learning about traditional Celtic mythology and legends. We learned and saw a lot, but I will say this tour was definitely not as exciting for the girls as we thought it would be. I'm glad we did it though because we got to see a lot of the city and not only learn about mythology, but also a lot about Galway too. When we finished our tour, we went out for another early dinner at a delicious hamburger place and then capped off our night and our time in Galway with some ice cream and time at the park. And that is our 4 days in Galway in just 4 minutes. Galway is such a beautiful and calm city, but I know we only scratched the surface of what they have to offer. We really hope we get the chance to go back and visit because I know there is so much more to see. But now before you go, we are adding a new piece to our redash experience, and that is the official redash rating. We are going to start grading every destination that we visit based on 3 things: accessibility, kid joy, and parent sanity. So number 1 is accessibility, and we are giving Galway an 8 out of 10. This is such a cute and beautiful small town. However, there are also a lot of city buses that make it easy to get from place to place. Next up is kid joy, and this one is a solid 7 out of 10. The playgrounds and the shops were a huge hit for my 3 and 6-year-old, but there also wasn't a ton of things for them to do within the city. Most of our big exciting adventures happened outside of Galway city, but I'm sure if we'd stuck around a little bit longer and done a little bit more digging, we probably would have found a lot more fun activities for them. And lastly, there's parent sanity, and this one I give an 8 out of 10. Although there wasn't a ton to do here, the density of food and places to shop and playgrounds to play on made our lives so much easier, and not to mention the ease of public transportation for getting from place to place. And the general slower paced nature of this city just made it a total hit for both us and the kids. So the final verdict is that Galway is a must add to your Ireland itinerary. itinerary. We had a wonderful time. The views were beautiful. The weather was beautiful too, which I'm sure you can't always count on, but we really lucked out, and we just all had a truly amazing time. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe so you can check out our Dublin redash video next week if you're planning your own Ireland itinerary. And if you have any questions about anything Ireland, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I will do my best to answer it and share anything I can from all of the experiences that we've had. Thank you so much again for being here. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we will see you next week.